Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. Paula Vail here. Oh, just another amazing guest to share. I'm so happy to have with us today Tabitha Scott. She is an international author, speaker, and advisor on business transformation through powering personal and leadership potential. Formerly CEO of Cole Scott Group and Military Assistance Company, and SVP of Innovation and Sustainability at global companies Balfour, BD Investments, and Lend Lease Americas. She has so much experience in management, leadership development, sustainability, and technology deployment. Plus, she's also an energy girl and loves the animals and the planet. You're just so awesome, Tabitha. I want to say welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, Paula.
I'm just thrilled to have you. And I recently read Tabitha's awesome book,
Yay.
Trust Your Animal Instincts. But we'll hear a bit about that and just have fun today.
That's
Um,
great.
in any extra background you'd like to share with us and kind of what brought you to where you're at today, Tabitha?
Yeah, I think because of your background, I might share, and your audience is a little bit special. I was so excited looking at your show and love the show. It's about energy. And so this audience will totally understand and resonate with my background in both electrical science. I've done a lot of renewable energy projects and understand how energy flows, but also how our body's energy works, and worked with ancient and modern energy wellness techniques. And I know you are in Reiki specialty. And so I've studied 32 energy modalities and just absolutely love understanding that we are part of a bigger sense of nature, and we're all made of the same energy: plants, animals, humans. And so we have so much more in common with nature and animals and each other than we do different, because quantum science shows we're just electrical.
Yes, yes. Isn't it fascinating?
It is. It is. And it's interesting how you can really boil it all down just to waves and the way they behave. Like if you have a high vibe with things like, love and compassion, and you feel happy and elated and spun up and ignited, all of those electrical words. And then if you're feeling disconnected or off balance, or those are the low vibe things that come from uncertainty and fear. And it kind of describes what's been happening with our society recent years, with the pandemic, with the political challenges, with socioeconomic challenges. And, you can boil it down to vibes. There's a lot of low vibes out there, and it pulls from you, it pulls you off balance.
Yes, yes, that is so true. And we we have to take steps, or we can focus on things and bring our vibration back up. It because where we reside vibrationally is a biggie, isn't it?
It sure is. And that's what my book is about. That's what my key message to people is. It's about purposeful transformation, transformation of yourself through tapping into that. You can call it intuition, you can call it energy, that renewable source. And you can do it. We all can do it. And just helping people understand it's there. And we can tap into it at any time. And different religions have explained it in different ways, different paths to tap into that source. But it's so exciting that we have the ability to react in any way. We have the ability to process how we choose, to
Yes.
feel about something. And then that manifests into our health and our actions and our work and so many aspects of our lives.
Yes, yes. And where would you say animals come into the picture, and wildlife, or what we can learn and connect with the animal world?
Yeah, I think every person is different when it comes to dealing with animals, or, some people resonate with the ocean, or some people resonate with fishing or an activity or golf. And for me, animals is one of those things that resonate very strongly with me. I grew up on a small farm in Kentucky. So I had chickens and a duck and horses and cats and dogs and fish and gerbil, you name it, I had it at one point.
Oh, me too. Me too. I was on a property in Centralia, Washington, and I still have the 8 acres where I grew up. I mean, my
Yeah.
farm
See,
there.
so I think sometimes, especially if you're a shy person, I was a very shy little kid. Those animals were something that I could turn to for comfort or love or teach them tricks. My chickens could shake hands with you. It was just the funnest thing to deal with them. And I've carried that throughout my life. And so when I ask God, or I ask, my grandmother passed probably 35 years ago, but I still talk with her sometimes, her
Oh,
energy. And
yeah.
so when I ask her questions, she usually answers me through an animal. And that's how in the book I explain these three key messages that I got about how to deal with burnout, how to tap into my intuition and listen, and then, how to take the risk and get into action to stay high vibe. It was all from animals.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? And the messages they can give us and, open up our intuition.
It is, but it's not always the way I wanted it to happen. So let me explain what I mean by that. I didn't get to pick which animals were the messengers that came to me, like
Yep.
cute baby bunnies or, tiny kittens. Instead, the first major message was, what should I do with my job? I had reached this point of burnout in my life, and it was things outside of my control. I call it the should monster. I was shoulding all over myself. I should be the perfect executive. I should be able to deal with empty nesting. I should be able to deal with the marriage being over. I should be able to handle, getting cancer. I should be able to handle it all and just suck it up because that's what we do. We soldier on. And so I was busy shooting on myself and letting the should monster get the best of me. And I kept asking, what should I do about this job? I'm not really happy there anymore. And it's not fulfilling my purpose. And I kept seeing snakes. And so I'm like, I don't love snakes. I'm fine with them and I respect them and appreciate their value, the chain of things, but it's still scary when you see them unexpectedly. And I saw them for such a period of time. My friends started making fun of me. We were Googling, we were looking up spiritual books and meanings, and nothing made sense. And finally, one day, I'm riding my bicycle out on a rural road near Nashville, and I'm like at wit's end. Look, God, if you're going to give me a message, just could I get a billboard or something because I'm not getting it. And lo and behold, another big snake crawls right in front of me. So after he passes very, nonchalantly that he had just interrupted my ride, I'm pretty upset at paddling as hard as I can. And it's hot here in the South in the summertime. I'm sweating. And finally, it was like goosebumps all over me. You ever have that when your intuition's speaking and you just get goosebumps?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was like a billboard. I saw shed your skin in my mind's eye. Shed your skin. And I was like, oh, I get it now. And I looked it up, and snakes shed their skin because number one, they have to let go of everything holding them back. Their skin is literally keeping them from growing into what they have the potential to be. So they have to shed it, get rid of it in order to grow. And the second reason they shed it is because it takes on parasites. And those parasites, I mean, I have thought about all the parasites in my life, even the cancer, the unhealthy relationships, my negative self talk. You're not perfect. You're not fast enough. You can't solve everything. So letting those parasites go and leaving it behind. So that was the first of three animal signs that I got.
Yeah. And, you know, it's really fascinating when you research and realize what those animal signs and messages are telling you. It can really help you sit back and think, wow, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes a while to get through what the message is, what it's trying to teach you. It took me many months for that one. That was the first one that I recorded. And then the one kind of in the middle, and there are other animals in between. There's about 8 or 9 animals in the book. But in the middle, it was the owl. And, the owl's visits at certain times that things were going on. And when I finally figured out the message, I didn't see the great horned owl anymore. And that story goes into trying to find my spirit animal. I wanted to find my spirit animal, and I had heard other people, well, I know mine's a bear or, a tiger. And I just knew mine had to be some kind of puma or tiger or, some big cat, something fierce. And I kept praying for it, and this owl kept waking me up at night. And I'm like, dude, you got to be quiet. You're going to wake me up, and I can't get my spirit animal answer. And I would go back to sleep. And literally, I did this for a period of time until one day, I had someone over at the house, and he said, what's up with that annoying owl? Like, what are you feeding it to get it to come out there and talk to you? And I was like, oh, that's the thing. And I look it up. An owl is this type of owl is used to be called a tiger owl, the great horned owl. So I'm like, I did get my tiger, just in a different form. And owls, their heads are literally shaped like a satellite dish. And if you go to originalenерgist.com, there's a video where I was at the owl sanctuary, and they talk about how it's made for putting all of the sound, funneling it to their ears. And they can turn their head almost all the way around in both directions. So they are excellent at tuning in. And I was at this point in my life where I needed to evaluate, what was I tuning into? And think about us at work or in our social groups or wherever we are. Are we tuning into who's the loudest, who's the most controversial, watching the news? What are we feeding our mind and tuning into? Is it the people that are most like us? So we're not being diverse enough in what we're feeding ourselves. And so the owl taught me, hey, pay attention to what you are tuning into. And that's how you tap into your intuition. That's the first step of finding it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that reminds me, something you said in your book that I absolutely loved was, like a radio, our days are filled with thousands of channels, each with its own frequency, and we choose what we tune into.
That's right.
And that is so true.
It is true. And then you can further break that down into, is it a high vibe frequency or a low vibe frequency? And if it's a low vibe frequency, those are things like fear, uncertainty, things that bring your energy level down. Or is it a high vibe thing like love or compassion that brings your energy level up? And, thinking through that, Paula, when coronavirus was going on, and everybody's like, why do I feel so off balance? Everybody was feeling off balance. It's because you can't see these energetic attacks. You can't see it being sucked out of you. Now, you can feel it if somebody walks into a room and you get that feeling in your gut and they just zap the energy out, or you get a phone call and you see the phone number sometimes and you're like, oh, no. I'm not in the mood for that right at this minute. You can feel it, but it's not like a physical attack, which someone with a baseball bat, you can certainly see that. And so the book talks about how to protect yourself from those energetic attacks and the things going on around you. Like I worked with ER physicians, for example, during the height of the pandemic on not the safety side as much, but the wellness side of putting up those invisible shields around you to protect yourself from all of that fear and uncertainty, and some techniques that they could use very practically to protect their energy and stay high vibe.
Yes. And what does traveling do to change our perspective on life? What is traveling, new experiences? How do we look at that as far as something that changes our perspective, our perspective?
I'm going to say that it may depend on each person. People that are more risk averse may not enjoy traveling as much. Like my dad does not want to spend a night if his head is not on his pillow. Whereas my mother loves to travel with me for work, and I've taken her to New York and Hawaii, California, many places. And for us, it invigorates us and exploring new things, new bits of nature, new cultures is very, very stimulating for us. So, what's a very high vibe activity for us and enriches our lives, it would really frustrate my dad because he wouldn't know where to go, get a good burger.
Yeah. So, would you say that we can actually, raise our vibration and focus on what we want to tune into at home, not going anywhere, just as much as with travel and new experiences? It's really because we're all individual and we all tune into different channels, would you say?
Yes, absolutely correct. And that's the key takeaway is remember if you try to notice and just make a list of the things you're doing when you find yourself humming subconsciously. If I'm eating my mother's blackberry cobbler, I'm humming subconsciously. So that is an activity that is high vibe for me and puts me in a happy place. And even thinking about eating her cobbler puts me in a happy place. Blowing out the candles on your birthday cake, when your team takes the field of a big game, when a bride enters, a vestibule. What are those things that make you happy? And it could be taking your dog for a walk. It could be stroking your cat for a moment or going for a dive. Anything that makes you happy is a high vibe activity. So
Yes.
doing more of those is a surefire, easy way to raise your vibe.
Yes, yes. Because when we give, we all have our own unique little happy tools or, what makes us happy. And I believe it can make such a difference and open up so much if we take the time to give ourselves a little bit of what makes us happy. It can
It does.
really
It makes all the
our
difference. And
whole
you
day.
point out something that I think it's the place that people stop and they don't make progress as they don't take the risk to act into it. And you're seeing people now starting to leave their jobs in, record high numbers because they've, been through the pandemic, they've realigned their priorities and now, work no longer fits their purpose. They can't be high vibe there. They don't, feel recharged when they go there. And so it's taking the risk to act that's important. And, that's my third animal that the third lesson that I use sometimes is the bat. And when I was in Costa Rica, I had this great global job. I gave it away. I quit. I gave away most of my things and went to live in the jungle for 3 months in rural Costa Rica. I did yoga every day by this giant tree and bats. There were 7 little bats that came and hung near me. And I would listen to their little chirps and clurks, and they made the funniest little sounds and named them after the 7 dwarfs. And those little guys, I couldn't figure out what they were teaching me. And I was upside down. My life was upside down. They were upside down. And finally, I figured out, the bat cannot take off from the ground. They have to literally risk falling to their death by letting go in order to fly. So until you let go of whatever's holding you back, until you take risk then and act into it, you can't achieve everything that you want to achieve. And so the bats taught me this lesson that, hey, let go and you can fly into places you have never even thought about yet.
Yes.
It gets them to where they can get their nourishment and be healthy and do what they're supposed to do.
Yes, yes. And isn't it true that, we can let go and say, I'm going to trust, I'm going to let go, and we can discover a passion we didn't know we had. The
Absolutely.
things that can come when we just open the door
Absolutely.
and
And
raise
being
our
receptive
vibration.
to that. The universe has your back, you know?
Yes, yes, it does. So what would you say to someone listening that says, I really want to reconnect with my intuition and just open that up? What would you say for those first steps for them to
Yeah,
do?
I'm going to say something different than what you would probably think with a wellness person. Typically, they would say go to a quiet spot and cross your legs and meditate. And I would say something a little bit different. I would say find something you love, a way that you can meditate and connect. So for me, that was hiking through the jungle or, going on a really long run or a bicycle ride, something that I love to do in a place that I love to do it. But for me, it was all about physically tying up my body and getting tired so that my mind could slow down enough to think.
Mhm.
Whereas going straight to meditation is not something that I'm really great at. I've got too much energy. So finding what you love, and that may be again walking your dog or
Yep.
something that you're passionate about, and that is the easiest way to find your intuition because when you're in that happy place, wherever it is, then insights will come to you, and they will. Sometimes you can hear them, sometimes you might feel them. We have them in all different ways. I see animals and get messages and affirmation from them or four-leaf clovers, all sorts of things in nature. But the first step is to get that high vibe feeling and be receptive to what's around you instead of just focusing on the end. I'm going to walk a mile, and the whole time you're thinking, I've got half mile more, a quarter more. Just stop thinking about it. Just notice, wow, look at all of these trees around me, or look at all these beautiful buildings. I wonder who built these. Being like a little child and being fascinated with the things that are around you is a great way to tap into your high vibe.
Yes, yes. And, when we tap into those happiness triggers and, pull ourselves up with that and give that gift to ourselves, it does. It opens us up to that, doesn't it?
Mhm. It does. It's exciting, and anyone can do it anywhere.
Yes, yes. Because it's really a choice we're making, positivity or negativity. And the choice we make, and as you say, the radio channel that we tune into, it makes a huge difference in what's going to unfold and what we're going to attract and bring in.
It's so, so true. And you mentioned attraction. There's a lot of work on the laws of attraction. And being an energy person, an electrical energy person, I describe that phenomenon as you're in sync. So if you think about our language and how our language talks about our state of being made of energy, we're in sync. We resonate. What resonates with you? I like her vibe. So it's throughout our language already, but it's realizing, what are we in sync with?
Yes, yes. And I've always found it so fascinating that we become in sync with other people in that vibration. That can bring us to the people we meet or the opportunities that come to us, and, just open doors and raise our vibration. And oh my gosh, the people and the things we can connect with and the animals we see.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all so fascinating.
It is.
Well, Tabitha, would you mind sharing a little information with everyone, how they can get a copy of your book, website, or more information about you? They would
Sure.
love that.
Yeah. The book is available at all major online retailers, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, etc. And the Audible book is available as well. And so check it out. Just Google Trust Your Animal Instincts by Tabitha Scott. You can also go to powering-potential.com and be sure to put the hyphen in the middle, powering-potential. And that has information about workshops, speaking engagement, and things geared more towards business or you can go to originalenergist.com, and that has information about energy, wellness, and healing, and animals. So, depending on what your interest is,
I love
that's
it.
where you can find me.
I love it. And isn't that so wonderful how, we can have this area and this area and we don't have to be limited into what our focus is and what we love doing.
We don't. And my publicist said, you're going to really confuse people if you put all of this on the same site. So you really should, separate things a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
which was great advice.
You're just way awesome and have stuff everywhere. And I say, hey, I call it like with my Reiki, I tell my students, if you want to pull in oils and candles and this and show me, Reiki soup.
Yeah, bring it on.
Bring it on. Do what makes you happy.
That's
Well,
right. That's right.
few minutes left, Tabitha. What last words do you want to leave with everyone today?
I think I want to leave everyone with the notion that whatever might be getting to you, frustration, maybe it's you don't know your purpose and you're stressing yourself out. Like, don't stress yourself out. Very few people know exactly what their purpose is, exactly how to find all of the answers. Only the very most enlightened people know that. And so focus on little waypoints. Don't just try to go through life on cruise control, focused only on that destination. Pick a little waypoint along the journey. One little thing that makes you happy, and then another little thing that makes you happy. These little waypoint goals. And you know what? You'll end up shedding your skin, what's been bothering you. You'll tap into and tune into what really is valuable for your life by doing that. And then you'll be able to let go and fly and just take flight into what you want to do. But it's a little bit at a time. So don't stress yourself out. That is my final word.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, okay. Today is to hear taking steps to taking flight. I love it.
Let's do it.
I love it. Let's all just soar and enjoy our happiness triggers. Oh, Tabitha, thank you so much. This has
My
been so
pleasure.
fantastic.
It has been so fun, Paula, talking with you.
Oh, thank you. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Everyone out there, thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful. Love, hugs, and blessings. Tabitha, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you so much.
Right back at you.
Thank you, dear. Bye.